Think you're a smart guy? We shall figure out what you're made of. Car carriers, they have a bow which is flared like this. When it was time to go down, the coolie ladder was on the other side. So I was waiting for Bosun to rig the ladder to this side. He looked at me and said, "What are you waiting for? Hold the rope and go." So like a big stud, I put one leg over the gunwale and he didn't stop me. So I held the rope and went. And you are expected to hold the rope and go down to the stage, about 15 feet down.
To the nights you were chipping.
That was standard. You got rest hours and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is celestial navigation all about?
Morning twilight and evening twilight, you take at least 4 stars. Basically, you will get 2 for-shore positions, and basis that you will project your track for the next day.
I heard somewhere that you didn't have a license and you became a chief mate on board.
Yes.
Was true?
Yes.
Any good shore leave you remember?
I don't think you want to put that on YouTube.
What are certain steps young boys can skill up to?
Be ready for your next promotion. You don't know when you might get a chance. When I got a chance, Captain came up to the bridge and he said, "Samarth, can you make a load plan?" I said, "So yes, sir." And he went, "Okay, chief house is signing out, go make load plan and come." And I went down, made the load plan and I came out.
So any particular message you want to put across for the students? Welcome back to the KSN show. Today I have a captain who's like the Rambo of shipping. He's taken Instagram by a storm and he's going to be explaining to us what olden times of shipping looked like during his days and what the modern shipping is. Lots of insights on how to join this profession in the right way, what to do in the profession, especially for cadets, to reach up to the ranks quickly, and of course, lot of experiences and stories of how shipping during the 80s and 90s looked like. And there's a famous line where it used to say that sailors have a girlfriend in every port. We are going to decode, demystify, break this myth, bust it, and here's Captain Sam's for you all. Captain Sams, welcome to the KSN show, sir. The moment you walked in from that transparent gate, I think both me and my friend who is here were taken aback, like, who is this personality? Being very honest and upfront, the way you look on Instagram and the way you're here in live, I can tell you the amount of fitness and the amount of that glow in your aura is too intense and profound, sir. Welcome, sir, and how are you?
Thank you so very much. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. You guys are doing such good work. And thanks for the flattery. I may not be that deserving. I am just doing my little bit, but you guys are doing brilliant work.
Right.
And I really want to, right off the bat, I want to congratulate you guys. There are very few guys who are putting out correct, accurate information and awareness about the field.
Thank you,
There
sir.
are so few of you and you're doing it so well. You can see the amount of effort that you guys put in,
Sir.
unlike me.
No, sir. Thank you for all the compliments. You are flattering me, and now my ego is also rising. But, sir, I've been following you for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Your content level of engagement, like how as a master you try to portray information yet with an entertainment element to it, is something which I've not seen many masters do. What I want to do today, sir, first take you back to the days when you started. So, people know you as a captain right now. Let's tell them how you were as a cadet. Where did you begin your journey, sir? Why did you join this profession?
Okay. Nostalgia time.
Yes.
Okay, so the year is 1989. I've just finished my 12th. I'm giving my engineering entrances. I was a good student. I was brilliant at maths.
Okay.
Okay, and other than that, I had never thought of anything else except engineering.
Right.
During the course of giving my entrances, I happened to go to Bombay and visit my cousins there. My cousin was applying to barbers.
Okay.
And overnight, he brainwashed me? No. Overnight, I considered merchant navy as a field, a life where you get to see the world, a life of adventure, a hard life, an exciting life, and money coming in. At that time, the dollar was, I think, 18 rupees or something on that sort, okay? 8 or 18, I don't remember.
Right.
Either of the two,
Yeah.
okay? But my cousins who had passed out their engineering, they were looking at an entry-level job of about $7,500 a month. And the stipend in cadetship was more.
And just the stipend.
Just the stipend in cadetship. And it was like, what the hell, yeah. This is the thing to do. Okay, actually, coming back, I mean, my father was in government service. So seeing the world and working and earning money, that made a very big difference. So overnight, I got brainwashed. He was going in for his entrance examination the next morning itself. I went along with him. I asked if they were taking in walk-ins. This was at Baba's. They were taking in walk-ins. So
Okay.
I gave my entrance exam and my interview along with them. I got selected. And I got selected. Training was to be at T.S. Rahman.
Right.
But the batch was already full. So just because I did not want to wait, I applied to Tolani as well. And I got through Tolani. I was just about to join Tolani when a couple of guys failed their eyesight test at MMD. So 3 seats opened up at the T.S. Rahman batch. So I switched back to Baba's quickly and went in. I did my pre-C, a short pre-C from T.S. Rahman. This was the only 4-month batch. The rest of the batches were 3 months.
Right.
And that was the second batch at T.S. Rahman.
Okay.
And
So-
after that, went out to sea.
So I had a guest before who said that they didn't have a pre-C training like we do now, like 1 year, 3 year, 4 years. Was the case with you the same? Like you had like a 3 months STCW, I think?
Not STCW, it
Yeah.
was actually a pre-C course.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And part and parcel of that were your basic firefighting and your first aid course. And PSC we did separately.
Okay. Okay. So just the basic courses and
Yeah. We actually learned a little bit of spherical trigonometry and navigation and what a ship is supposed to be about, a bit of seamanship, knot splices and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
Whatever you can fit inside 3 and 4 months, yeah.
okay. So just a 3-month course?
Yeah, that's it.
And then straight on the ship.
Absolutely.
How was it, sir? Yeah.
That is actually a very
Yeah.
interesting thing because we see the normal ships, you have a forecastle in the front, a bridge in the back and all that kind of stuff. My first ship was a car carrier. And I was the only person joining. All right. So I joined my ship in Toyohashi, Japan.
Yeah.
The taxi stopped right next to the ship. I
Okay.
got out of the taxi and I see this wall right next to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's forward and what's aft? Actually, it was like,
Yeah.
what the hell is this?
Just like a block on the sea.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm standing right next to a gigantic steel wall and I'm actually trying to figure out what's forward and what's aft.
My God. So how was the gangway that time? It was a ramp. Did you go from the ramp or?
There was a ramp and a gangway.
Okay.
This ship, it was a first generation car carrier, so it didn't have a ramp, so to say.
Okay.
It had a car ladder. So the car ladder was picked up by a crane and stored on main deck.
Okay.
And it was just straight out 90 degrees to the ship.
Right.
All right. And in places where you did not have enough place for the car ladder, you had to rig a turntable.
Okay.
So the turntable was slotted onto the ship side and suspended from the side using chains and wires.
It's all suspended via chains and wires.
I mean,
I mean,
hooked
just
on one
hooked
side
on one
and
side.
cantilever. I mean,
Yeah.
going on at an angle. It's like this. So it's suspended by chains and wires. The chains and wires had to be hoisted up by a capstan.
My God. It's hard to believe right now in my generation of shippies.
Exactly.
But,
So I am one of those few guys who've actually used a capstan.
My God.
Several capstans actually.
Okay.
There was nothing known as GPS. There was nothing known as NNSS. All that came in during my time.
So you just opened up a dimension which we'll tap onto because we are the modern seafarers, kind of, and
Yeah.
you come from the old school. And that's why I now recollect when you entered, you have that old school aura as well as a proper shippy, a sailor. So we'll come to that, sir.
I try to stay current and young like
No,
you guys, but
But I think it's ingrained in you. Like, what do you say? It's ingrained, the old school sailing tactics.
I try to bring it out and pass it out to the guys I sail with. Because there are certain basics that you just can't or shouldn't forget.
Right, sir. Right. Okay, sir. Moving on to you stepping onto that. Did you go from the ramp or
No, gangway.
from the gangway?
Yeah.
How was the feeling just being a new, I think, what were you, 17? 18?
17, yeah.
17,
Yeah.
being on a block on a sea.
Yeah.
What was the feeling like?
17 when I started my training, 18 when I joined the ship. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's go to 18.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So-
yeah.
I got on the ship and I carried my bag and my other bag was carried by the AB, Filipino crew on that ship. Went up to the chief officer and the chief officer like, "You think you're a smart guy?" And I'm like, "So yes, sir." And he's like, "We shall figure out what you're made of."
Yeah. Yeah.
And the port went whoosh without me realizing what the hell has happened. And departure stations, ropes. And I actually had no clue when the ship left the dock and sailed out. I was squaring up the ropes and I look up and suddenly, oh hell, where's the shore gone?
Oh, wow. Was it scary to see a sight like that?
Not really, but it was like, I gotta get my act on and be more observant because I really don't know what's happening around me.
Right. I think this happens with, I think, most of the people who join for the first time because it's a disorientation. Firstly, you're away from land and on a machine.
You're there on a land and you're in an environment which you have never dreamt of. I had never thought something like that could exist. It was a 13-story car park. Okay. And stairs and doors and ramps and gas tight doors and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's totally different.
Yeah. Did you go on sea before this when you were a teenager?
Never at all.
No idea of how.
Absolutely nothing.
Were you seasick on the first voyage by any chance?
No, lucky I never got seasick.
Because I know that the car carriers have a high GM most of the time. They keep tossing around.
Yeah.
So you were okay with that?
Yeah, I was fine.
Right, sir. So how was your encounter with the chief med going that? Because he was your trainee, your training officer?
At that time, the method of training was actually very, very different. I mean, most of the stuff we learned was through punishments.
So please explain different. Let's go there. Yes.
I mean, one of the first things I did was chip the spare anchor. That ship at that time was 18 years old.
You were chipping the spare anchor?
Yes. And I was not, because I was a fresh cadet, I was not allowed to use any power tools.
Oh, so manually chipping
yes,
hammer?
First sledgehammer, then chipping hammer, then wire brush, and then scraper and hammer and all that kind of stuff. Get everything out and then actually wire brush it to a shine by hand.
And just for context for the people, the anchor is not a small thing.
Yeah, it was a big ship. It was a 4,200 capacity car carrier, and it was a 10-ton anchor. Yeah.
Oh man, I'll put a picture also just for the people to see what sir was into.
And actually, every morning, the fingers used to be like I could not hold my toothbrush, either hand.
Oh, is this the reason why fitness is still up to the mark?
Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. Actually, I could. It was a task holding my toothbrush in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, hard to imagine, but I can understand like that heaviness of a sledgehammer continuously pounding onto the anchor.
So that's why sailors are supposed to have nice forearms.
Yeah, like the Popeye picture.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense now. I think it's a big myth which has been uncovered. Okay.
That and rope work.
And rope work, okay.
Yeah.
So like all the splicing and...
wire splicing and rope splicing. We used to splice all the wires on board.
Okay.
There was nothing spliced from ashore.
So everything in-house?
Yeah.
Okay. So talking about seamanship, just because we are on rope, what do you think there's a difference now between your times of seamanship and now? Is there like a big difference you see in terms of suppose rope work itself?
Yes. Okay. Not just rope work, let me go over the entire concept of how we approach things. Right now, safety is paramount. Okay. We pay a lot of emphasis on safety and industry standards and circulating of accidents that have gone around and all that kind of stuff. Let me give you a couple of examples. There were no checklists and stuff. So you're making a tank entry. When you're making a tank entry, you go down yourself, you shut the valves, you lock them, you inform the duty of engineer that you're going to go into such and such tank. You open the tank manhole, you take the bolts inside with you, you leave your watch outside.
Just to make a...
that is like so that somebody can identify who's inside.
Wow.
And nobody can accidentally lock you in. That used to be standard practice, the way we were brought up. Okay. And, okay, another very interesting example. I was probably about a month out at sea, okay. And car carriers, they have a bow which is flared like this, okay. We were painting the ship's name on the bows.
While sailing?
No, at anchor.
At anchor, okay.
Okay, painting the ship's name on the bows at
Yeah.
anchor. And you suspend the stage, then you pass a rope around it and you take it in. So the stage rope is going in like that. All right. And I was a month out at sea and I was there with the ABs painting. So chai ka time, 10 o'clock came up. And after that, when it was time to go down, the coolie ladder was on the other side, not on my side. So I was waiting for bosun to rig the ladder to this side. And he looked at me and said, "What are you waiting for? Hold the rope and go." So I, like a big boss, thought, he's trying to scare me. He's pulling my leg.
Yeah.
Can't be right. So like a big stud, I like put one leg over the gunwale
Yeah.
and he didn't stop me.
Oh.
So I held the rope and went.
Yeah.
Okay, can you imagine anybody allowing anybody else to do that in today's date?
There is no chance even to visualize it right now. For me, as
Okay, now the stage is not vertically inside,
Yeah.
the stage is inside.
Yeah.
And you are expected to hold the rope and go down to the stage.
So it's
Which
like along the flare of the.
Yes,
Car.
about 15 feet down.
Oh man.
All right. I mean, those kind of things, nobody. But at that time, you had to trust yourself, your grip, your strength.
So it's like really you need to have the strength in your physical arms and.
And I was not the only one doing it. That was a norm. You were expected to. There was nothing great shakes about it. But in today's scenario, if you could put in something like that, it's like out of the question. Unbelievable.
Hard to imagine, like I'm saying, because as you said, the safety emphasis is so paramount. that
Yeah.
There's a checklist which will definitely avoid all of this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Let's come back from seamanship to your first voyage. Now, what was your first route, sir, if you remember?
First route was Japan to the US.
Long voyage over the Pacific.
Yeah.
Did you encounter heavy weather because generally North Pacific is troubled?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And even then, I would actually be, whenever I got the punishment for anything of that sort,
Yeah.
I'd be chipping through the nights.
Through the nights you were chipping.
That was standard.
I mean, I'm just saying this very normally right now, but this is like hard to imagine for all the viewers also because they're aspirants also watching.
Yeah.
But is it now like this? Something like this happens?
No,
No?
it doesn't happen anymore.
It's gone.
Yeah, you got rest hours and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Working through the nights was standard punishment. And you would use a cargo cluster or a portable light. You would face it away from the bridge. You would be in a position where you can be observed from the bridge. And you would be working through the night.
Wow. Just trying to imagine this.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in a rough weather, had you encountered rough weather during this voyage or something
Yes, we did.
in the car carrier?
Yeah.
So, could you enlighten the guys who are going to car carriers generally what happens on a car carrier when it's in heavy weather?
See, luckily I was not seasick at all. Okay?
Okay.
So in a car carrier, when the weather's rough, you have to pretty much constantly monitor the lashings of the cars. All right? So you go down in the car decks and you find all the cars moving in unison, like shoo, 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 shoo. Okay? And you're stepping in between the cars and the cars are like all dancing to the same tune.
Wow.
Right, you're stepping in between the cars, like stepping on each lashing, making sure none of
Yeah.
them is slack and all that kind of stuff. And you're going that deck after deck after deck. Okay.
Yeah.
And one more bonus point on that, my chief officer did not know how to drive.
Oh.
Okay, so we had a pickup truck on board.
Okay.
And that pickup truck was used to store lashings and to change tube lights after discharging. And there are a shitload of tube lights there.
In the entire car deck.
In all the car decks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my job. That was a fun job.
Wow. Just a great way to also have a memory of like what happens inside a car carrier. Is it still like this? Are you aware?
Yeah.
Still like this?
The tube lights are, you use the pickup to change the tube lights because you're carrying about 150, 200 tube lights at a time.
Right.
And then you're standing on the back of the pickup and changing the lights.
Were there any sports car in your car carrier or some?
We were carrying cars, but you do not touch cargo.
You do not touch cargo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the sense they are so sensitive, you cannot even have handprint damage. You cannot have exposed zippers or buttons. so that they may scratch the cars.
Oh.
So the boiler suits which are there on car carriers, they always have a fabric covering over the zipper or this thing, and they have Velcro fasteners.
Oh, wow, that's something new for me to learn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're not allowed to drive it also?
No, not
No?
the cargo.
Not the cargo?
No.
Only the shore personals will.
Yes, the show gangs do that.
Okay, okay. So, sir, from that car carrier, that must be your first cadet ship. Did
Yeah.
you still continue in a car carrier or?
No, from my second ship onwards, I did only self-unloading bulkers.
Okay, okay. Self-unloading bucket with GED.
Conveyor belts on board.
Conveyor belts.
Yeah.
Is it like coal carriers or?
We carry all kinds of cargo like gypsum, aggregate, coal, iron ore.
Okay,
All bulks,
Yep.
free-flowing bulks generally.
yeah.
And a system of conveyor belts that makes the unloading very, very fast.
Was the bulk carrier better than the car carrier?
Yes and no. Yes, because it was what you call very fast unloading, so shorter trips make sense for a self-unloader. So we never did have really long voyages. The max to max you would have is 7 days sailing.
Okay.
That is the top limit.
Okay.
Okay, and you go right inside the city because you are discharging into the factory,
Directly.
inside the factory. Okay, so the ports are actually very good. Port stay is a little bit longer than car carriers. Car carriers have a very, very fast turnaround.
So, any good shore leave you remember?
Oh yeah, plenty.
Let's go and one at least so that I also get, oh, this was the old school aise hota tha, you know. Yeah.
That I don't think you want to put that on YouTube.
Okay, a subtle form of
your,
it.
your lives have gotten spoilt. Your lives have gotten spoilt after 9/11.
Right.
And the fun has actually gotten out of sailing.
That's true,
Okay.
sir.
I mean, even on a car carrier, when you go into like a place like Germany, they're not going to work the nights. The ship would dock at Bremerhaven and girls used to come on board.
Okay.
Okay, which girls?
Yeah.
Students.
Yeah, okay.
And all they wanted was beer.
So it's like a party on the ship.
Party on the ship. And they would stay till the ship left.
Right.
And they would actually wash and iron your clothes and stuff and all they wanted was beer. Or smokes.
Which era was this?
That used to be like that. That I'm saying is in a place like Germany.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a developed country.
Developed country at that time. Okay.
Yeah.
And in a place like Russia and stuff like that, it was like,
Okay, not for the YouTube content.
yeah.
No, that was what the sail perspective for a civilian looking at a sailor. The perspective is like that.
Still, when they say a wife at every port,
Yeah.
this perspective is still like that, but it's like gone 180 degrees now.
So you were still there when it was right,
The right side
the
around.
right side around.
Yeah.
Okay, which is one of the best ports you've ever been to?
I'll say Punta Venado, Mexico, which is right next to Playa del Carmen and Cozumel.
Okay, okay,
And there's a nature resort there called Xcaret.
right. Like a natural reserve,
Yes.
wildlife and all of that,
Sea life.
and sea life.
Yeah. They have an underground river which you can swim through.
Wow. Okay.
And that was my honeymoon place also.
Wow. So you discovered it while being a sailor?
Yes.
And then you went for the
Yeah,
honeymoon
yeah.
post your marriage? Oh,
Yeah.
oh wow. So was this in your cadetship days or was it when you
No,
became
when I became a third mate.
a third mate?
Yeah.
How was your transition, sir, from the cadetship mindset to the third officer mindset?
Okay. Again, as a cadet, one, you did not have working hours kind of thingy or rest hours kind. So you actually ended up learning a lot more. You worked your ass out, right? All right. There was no two questions about it. But if you were willing to slog it out, you would get to learn a hell of a lot of things. During my cadetship, I used to do cargo calculations along with the chief officer. I used to do chart corrections along with the second officer. I used to do LSAFM maintenance along with the third officer. I used to prepare paints and stuff along with the bosun. Everything I would do, everything I would need further on, I actually did physically as a cadet. Okay, it was not there was no paperwork.
That's a big hassle.
There actually was no paperwork. There were no checklists. There were no nothing. There was no paperwork at that time. today, sad to say, on a lot of ships, cadets are being used as clerks. Just filing and paperwork, that's it.
Right, sir. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, sir. Like coming back, how was your first watch as a third mate?
First watch as a third mate. Another interesting story. Okay.
Please.
When I joined my first ship as a third mate, the third mate who signed off was, in no other words,
Okay.
and he was also from Delhi.
Okay.
So in the old man's mind, guy from Delhi,
Not good.
the guy was so bad that, oh, I got 10 minutes to 8, I can have another drink. That kind of a guy.
Oh, you drink means like a alcohol drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
In those days, it was.
Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. I mean,
Okay, yeah,
you're
it's a-
talking about a
Yeah.
time when there was no paperwork.
Yeah. Like you said, 180-degree shift.
Exactly. Okay. But you had that sense of responsibility that this is what I'm supposed to do. So these are my limits, and I'm drawing my limits for myself, for my safety and the safety of my crewmen. Okay. But this was one of those guys.
Okay.
Okay. And nothing was up to date and all that kind of stuff. All his publication corrections were out, and he was bad
Okay.
by any standards. Okay. So I actually spent a lot of time convincing that I am not that bad.
To just get the preconceived notion of.
Yes. And I'll say lucky my stars were good or whatever. A month and a half later, the second mate changed, and we had a Bangladeshi second mate who was a total screw up. And suddenly after that, I was the blue-eyed boy.
So he took the light away. Okay. So how is the watch, sir? Like, why I'm saying this, because the first watch is always something you've never ready for in terms of how much ever training you have. That kind of feeling, for me at least, it was like that.
Okay. The first independent navigation watch I actually kept as a cadet on my second ship.
Okay.
Okay, we were sailing short-handed. The second mate signed off without a reliever. The third mate, I had a batchmate there and a junior. There were 3 cadets on that ship.
Right.
Okay, I had just joined at that time, and second mate signed off. The ship was in Jacksonville. We had to sail to St. John. The sailing orders came after the second mate signed off without a relief.
Okay. So
Okay.
no second mate.
No second mate. So captain asked the third mate to do the voyage plan. हमारा third mate भी उस time पे बांग्लादेशी था. हाँ, he must have retired by now, so I can take his name. His name was Mr. Naimul Haq,
Okay.
and captain used to call him Naimud.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So captain told him कि we have to plan the passage and stuff. He said, sir, मैंने करा नहीं, sir, मैं नहीं कर पाएगी. So captain asked, Sinha, can you plan a passage? So yes, sir. I said, okay, go take out the charts and stuff. I'm coming up. And I went down, फटाफट से अपनी वो किताब खोली मैंने, वो formulae, फर्रे वर्रे बनाए and all that kind of thingy. Mercator sailing and this and that and all that. For banu ke, I went up, I took out all the charts, I took out sailing directions and tide tables and this and that, and सब कुछ लाया इनसे स्टार्ट करके charts को order में लगाया and all. Line से लगा, sailing directions खोल के I was very diligently reading down किधर से जाना है. Captain came up on the bridge. What is this you're doing? So sailing directions and all that. We're going to go from here to here to here to here to here. Okay, plot the courses. There's one course which goes over 5 charts. When you're plotting that one, you call me. What sailing are you going to use? Some Mercator sailing. You can use plain sailing also. Ask chief officer what he wants to use. Okay? Anyway, I plotted the courses he told me to. And before the last course, I calculated the course and I called him. So, started plotting from one side, one chart, second chart, third chart, fourth chart, fifth chart. And the course matched.
Wow.
We ended up at the right point. And suddenly I was like, ding!
Yeah.
Jackpot!
But
Okay.
yeah, sir.
Acha, that doesn't end there. Okay?
Okay.
So that is the time where I sealed that I'm going to be keeping a bridge watch. All right? Now my first bridge watch. We sailed out of Jacksonville. There's a cargo pile of gypsum on deck wherein this thing had buckets at the end of the unloading chute.
Okay.
And the buckets would get choked because the stones were very large. So then you bring the chute over to deck and then you sledgehammer the damn shit and you dump the cargo on deck, whatever's contained inside the buckets. So there's a little mountain of cargo out on deck. Okay. So my first watch, 8 to 12 in the morning, out at sea. Captain comes up to the bridge, says, there's no traffic and all. Sinha, what do you go? Those guys are hosing down there. You go help them out. And I'm like, okay, sir. So change to bowler suit. Go there. And I start hosing down the cargo pile. 5 minutes later, I see Captain standing next to me.
Oh. Yeah.
I think I want to do this today. Can you get me a chair? I'll sit down and do this. I'm saying, okay, sir. I start going. Suddenly, I see this ship coming on the starboard side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sir. Sinha, I think you should go up to the bridge.
Oh boy.
That was actually my first watch.
Wow. Wow. So I mean, yeah, it's dangerous, but like when you hear it now as a story, it's like, what kind of day is this? Like, what kind of days were this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And by now we had sat nav. On my first ship, we did not have sat nav.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. By now we had that NNSS come in.
Okay.
And we would get satellite positions and stuff like that. Okay. The first ship was like,
Manual plotting and with the
yeah. And the fun is,
yeah.
you get overcast skies for 2 days. You don't know where you are. You're on DR for 2 days.
Right.
Okay.
And suddenly, yeah.
Doing 21 knots.
My God. How much have the off track, which has been the maximum, like you just being on DR and then
About 20 miles.
20 miles off?
That is not
that's
that
not-
good.
okay.
But the fun part is,
Yes.
when you are doing celestial navigation, the radars are always off. Okay. You never switch the radar on unless you have bad visibility.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
When you have bad visibility, you ask the captain and you switch on one radar.
Was it there still the expand, S-band or it was?
Yes, expand S-band. Okay.
Okay.
You switch on one radar after getting permission from the master, only in case of bad visibility. But when you're going to make landfall, that time you switch on both radars. And all duty officers are on the bridge.
Oh, like a Navy ship kind of a scenario?
Yes, you're going to make landfall. The moment you make landfall, you get a position and then the fight starts. देख साले मेरी पोजीशन सही थी तेरी गलत थी.
Oh, wow.
नहीं ये करंट चेंज हुआ मेरी वाली सही थी.
How was this, sir? Like, how was this time when you were using celestial nav for ocean crossing?
Yeah.
So, like, just for a viewer who is not familiar with merchant navy or nothing, what is celestial navigation all about, sir?
Okay. Morning twilight and evening twilight, you take at least 4 stars. You bring them down, you get 4 position lines. You get a position in the morning, you get a position in the evening. During the day, you get a noon LOP and the third mate for practice and the cadet for practice in the evening, they will get. So basically, you will get 2 foreshore positions in the morning and in the evening.
Right.
1 position in the morning, 1 position in the evening. And basis that, you will project your track for the next day.
Right. Okay. So just 2, there's no GPS
For
for,
sure,
context.
no.
So just 2 position and
Yeah.
then you just formulate.
Yeah, as long as you are out of range of shore.
Right.
If you are in range of the coast, then you will use the radar for getting a position.
And then
Okay.
do your...
Yeah. And when you have overcast skies or something like that, when you cannot get a position like that, then you go into direction finder and LORAN or DECA and try and work those out.
So, sir, what do you think about the education system right now? Since you're also into training, sir, the celestial navigation. Which
I
is
am
being taught-
actually not into training now.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm a little cut off, but I
okay.
will get back in maybe because I do enjoy teaching. Yeah.
Okay, but not just a teaching part, but just the observation which you've had since you've been from that trajectory of cell nav also.
Yeah.
The education right now of having hardcore celestial navigation papers
Yes.
versus the reality of the modern shipping. What do you think is a shortfall, or is it for the advantage? Like have
No,
this?
you have to move with the times. Okay, so I will say that it is good that we are getting more and more technology in, but the emphasis should be on how much reliance you can actually place on the technology and how do you cross verify it. from independent sources.
So this cross verifying is when all this comes handy.
Yes. I mean, in the sense, I would not expect people to take good radar. I mean, I know you guys are fudging your celestial sites once every month or something of that sort. Because I look back and I see, कितना तेरा कितना वो है,
Errors and all.
हाँ, error
Yeah.
कितना है ना? Also that it's like half a mile, a 0.2, a 0.3 and all that. Bullshit, yeah. I never got less than 1.5 mile when I was doing it every day.
So you caught them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I mean, you do get a
Yes.
mile cocked, which is normal.
Yes, correct. But 0.2 and 0.3
It's like
is,
it's like absurd. Come on now.
Right, sir. So, sir, coming back to your day now, sir, when you became a junior officer, were there any instances or incidents which you can recollect which actually changed you as a person?
Okay. Changed me as a person, I'll say these happen a little bit every day. You are a sum total of your cumulative experiences. So, like, just to put a life-changing experience or something of that sort, no, I will not be able to put a finger on one. There have been a lot. It has been a long life, so
Right.
there have been a lot of experiences, there have been a lot of incidents and stuff like that, which do somewhere at the back of your mind change the way you think.
That's what, sir. Any particular, like just a context that changed you as psychologically also changed you from what you are versus post that?
My last ship as a cadet, the day I was supposed to sign off, there was a very bad accident wherein the second mate lost his hand. Okay, and luckily we were in New York at that time, and I was in touch with him later, and they managed to get his hand back on.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
it was cut off
Oof.
in a mooring rope, but they managed to get it back on, and he did get use of his hand back as well, and he did go on to take command
Oh.
later.
Okay. Okay.
So that was one thing wherein I had decided there and then that no compromises on safety. But then I found that I have to reinforce this commitment again and again, because in my mind I would take care of my men, but sometimes for myself I would still be that old time Rambo. So there is something that you have to keep reinforcing again and again.
Thank you for sharing that, sir.
Yeah.
Right. So, sir, moving on from the junior officer rank, did you do all your education and all the mates, everything from India?
Everything from India.
Everything from India.
Yeah.
So, how was it taking command? How much time did it take you from your cadetship to becoming a master, sir?
I became chief officer very early.
So, yes, I wanted to ask this. Yes, I heard somewhere that you didn't have a license and you became a chief mate on board.
Yes.
Was true?
Yes.
Okay, let's go there.
It was okay. There were certain flags at that time, like Panama, Liberia, Malta, and a couple of others, who would give you a license based on the company's or the superintendent's recommendation.
Okay.
All right, that would normally be a limited license. Okay, so this is. I was second mate on a ship, and the ship was undergoing condition of class repairs, in the sense we were changing the corrugated bulkheads of the cargo holds while the ship was in full service.
The corrugated bulkheads of a hold,
Yes.
replacing them.
Replacing them while the ship was in full service. Again, I'm telling you, these
Wow,
kind of
this-
things you cannot think of in today's
Yeah,
date.
that's what I'm just going to my school academy teaching that. Oh, corrugated bulkheads are big things.
Exactly.
It's not a small hold.
Okay, so we had 14 repair team fitters there on board, of which there were 6 fitters and 8 welders. Okay, 8 fitters and 6 welders. Sorry.
Okay.
So the fitters used to work in the daytime, wherein we used to get C-shaped, like this, S-shaped sections, 12 feet by 12 feet. All right, this is the cross section. So what they were doing was they were cutting it into 2 Cs, 6 feet by 12 feet. It total weight of the whole damn thing was about 2 tons. So this was about 1 ton each, and we would mark out, cut off a section, hoist it up with chain blocks and stuff like that, get it in position, tack it in place. The fitting used to take place in the daytime, assisted by the deck crew, which was 3 ABs, 1 OS. 3 ABs, 1 OS, 1 trainee OS, no bosun. All right? And at night, the guys used to weld. Okay? So this, we would do the lower part when the hold was empty. And when we would load that particular bulkhead we are working on, we would load like this.
So,
So this is the bulkhead.
Yep.
We would taper down this way and taper down that way in the adjacent holds. And we would work on the higher part.
wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Ship is in full service, loading and discharging.
Okay.
All right? And the chief, I was second mate. And second mate, since the ship was on a regular run, I did not have many charts. I had a total of, I think, 50 or 52 charts. That's it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So chart correction was like easy peasy. No problem at all. So after my watch, I used to go hang around the holds and this and that and all that kind of thingy. Okay? And the chief officer had to sign off in an emergency. His wife was pregnant and she developed some kidney problem. So they were thinking in terms of prematurely delivering the baby so that they can treat her for the kidneys. So he had to sign off in an emergency from Mexico. They could not get another chief officer to Mexico. Okay?
Okay.
No, he had to sign off in the States. The ship was going to Mexico. They could not get a chief officer in Mexico. And we had to come back to the States. So it was like a 14-day period. All right. So we sailed shorthanded. I got log promoted to chief officer for the 14-day period.
Okay.
Okay. At that time, we had a senior cadet on board. A senior cadet, at that time, you pass your second mate exams before you have completed your sea time.
Okay.
So you get something known as a G form. Then when you have completed everything, orals, everything done. Only your sea time is short. So once you finish your sea time, then you would get your blue chit or your COC. Until then, you're a G form and you're capable of navigating watches under supervision.
Okay.
All right?
Right.
Okay. So we had a G form cadet on board. So chief officer signed off in an emergency. I took over as chief officer. There was no emails, no internet and anything at that time. We had in Masat A. So every day we would make a diagram and fax the diagram of this much work has been done. So from the day that I took over as chief officer, I stopped cutting this into 2 Cs straight up. Okay?
Okay.
So instead of fitting 2 pieces, fit 1 large piece in place. All right? That is the only thing that I changed. Okay? Because of that, the rate of work exactly doubled.
Oh.
The fitting time went in by half, the welding time went in by half, welding time went in by less than half. Fitting time became half, the rate of work doubled.
Okay.
The material that we had for 2 voyages was finished in 1. Okay. And we were sending daily reports.
Yeah. Of the work.
So this was noticed. And instead of a chief officer arriving at the next US port, we had a second mate and a limited Liberian license. The Liberian license was in my name and for that particular ship.
Okay. Okay.
That Samarth Sinha is found qualified to serve as chief officer on the MV Cabo San Lucas for a period of so-and-so to so-and-so.
Wow.
So that is what is called a limited license.
Okay.
Like right now you have on your license, it says no limitations.
Yes.
So that was a limited license, valid for 1 ship for a particular period.
Okay. That clears up quite a lot of doubts which we also have, like unlimited, we see that. Oh,
okay. So that is why now you have unlimited licenses because you did have limited licenses in the old days.
Okay. Wow. So, how was it being like the man in charge of all of this?
I've
yeah.
always, I mean,
I think,
I've said again and again, I'm not designed to sit in a chair. So as long as I'm out of a chair, I'm always very good and I'm always very happy.
right, sir.
So I spent 7.5 months on that ship and I signed off on the day the last bulkhead was surveyed and passed.
Wow.
Okay, so
Yes.
I had fun. No bridge watches for me at all. I would start my work 6 in the morning, probably go to sleep for an hour in the evening, finish up at 10 at night, come have a drink with the master,
Okay.
and go to sleep. Roz ka wahi fanda. I would look after cargo work in the sense cargo loading, unloading plans and cargo watches and stuff like that. Planning the cargo distribution so that I could work on whatever bulkheads. But most of my job was planning the bulkhead renewal and getting it done expeditiously.
So I think so. What I gauge.
Yeah.
So you're like a real hardcore seamanship kind of a person, like who loves to work around, have solutions within them.
Yes, that is what keeps me happy.
Right, sir. And in your on your Instagram profiles also, when I see you take a bosun chair and then paint the entire accommodation, I've seen that. I think it's all your ideation which fructifies.
No, these are my babies, so they think like I do.
But it's really impressive how you should. And I remember one of the reels which you put of a fall arrestor harness.
Yeah.
You practically showed it.
Yeah.
I think no person has the guts, and in terms of just doing that.
No, the thing is, okay,
Yeah.
You need to see it work to believe what it can do. You need to trust your equipment.
Right. And I
Okay,
think-
because you see, now you tell me from your personal experience, you have a hook on the safety harness.
Yeah.
How many people have you seen not use the hook but tie a knot instead? You've seen people do that?
No.
Because they don't trust the hook.
Yeah. They would wrap it around some strong point. Then they make a knot and then they put the hook. Yeah.
Exactly.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
why do you not trust
Yeah,
the hook?
Yeah. It's never directly on the hook of a...
No, there are people who put it directly, there are people
yeah.
who don't.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I think we've not seen it.
exactly.
All right. Well, that's a great way of actually...
Yes, you have
Learn-
to trust your equipment. One, you have to maintain it properly, you have to inspect it regularly, and then you have to trust it. It is designed to do a particular job.
Right, sir. Oh, absolutely, I agree. And I think that's something which makes you stand out in terms of just showcasing aspirants perhaps and us also. Like I also got, okay, this is how it will work. I hope it never has to come to that. But yeah, that's how it works and it works.
Yes.
It holds the person.
Yeah.
I think that's something, sir, great work which you're doing, sir, with your social handles and all, everything. Also, you are quite a fun person, sir. I saw one when you were the DJ and that reel just is so crazy. I just love it. I just binge watch it. So crazy.
That was actually
Yeah.
was actually an impromptu
Yeah?
decision.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday. We were in Bremen. Cargo was stopped from the shore side. Company wanted us to make a video for Happy New Year, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Okay.
So I called everybody for the bridge lunchtime to make that.
Yeah.
So we did that on the wing.
Yeah.
And it suddenly said like,
Yeah.
let's do this.
It's so fun. In fact, I'll put it also in the video. It's
That actually took
Yeah.
5 minutes to film.
yeah, it's like in just one go, everything.
And it was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll put a cap on, I'll put the
Yeah.
glasses on, I'll put the radio on, I'll put this thing on, I'll
Right,
put the
right.
gloves, I'll put the jacket.
Yeah,
And it was like, people just
Yeah, and it's
came
just
in.
one go.
Yeah.
The gloves were also fitting.
Everything.
I was looking at that only.
It was just a single take and it worked out
Yeah.
so damn well.
They were so good, sir.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the fun side, sir. So, on a ship, on a daily routine as a master, sir, how does your day look like?
Okay, I wake up in the morning with my coffee.
Hmm.
I go up to the bridge. I have a little chit chat along with the chief officer and stuff like that.
Right.
These days, I have started avoiding breakfast.
Okay. Are you in some diet plan or something?
No, I've just kind of started avoiding breakfast because it's becoming difficult to manage now. Okay.
No, sir. Just I want to break this. Sir, how old are you, sir? Or how young are you?
53.
See, when you told us this, you don't look 53 from any angle, sir. Any angle. So I think that's hats off to your...
No, you got to change your mind. So what is 53 supposed to look like? This is what it's supposed to look like. The point is to die young as late as possible.
Wow. To die young as late as possible.
Absolutely.
So these rules which you put, sir, how does it come into you? Like, what is this?
This is stuff which I've been telling these babies over and over again right since the beginning. And it is something which you already know. And it is as much a reminder to myself as for the general public.
There are some beautiful rules which you put up, sir. And it's like, it's a source of inspiration. Like when you can see it and sometimes you can hard relate it directly. And you needed that moment. So I think that's great work you do, sir. So Like, do you have have you read Stoicism and all? Stoic.
Yes, I was a voracious reader.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have that like stoic kind of principles, you know.
I won't put a name to it, but
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, just
I try to keep myself flexible and
hmm,
always open to new ideas.
right. What is your source of inspiration, sir? Is this someone who you look up to or get inspired from?
My father was a perfectionist in whatever he did. Okay, so I mean, it is like you may or may not have the talent for a particular job, but if you are determined to do it right and do it the best way possible, then there is nobody who can beat you at it. And that is something which I think my son has also taken up with me,
Right, sir.
like focus and determination.
And it shows, sir. I'm saying we just know half part from the social media, but now it has complete. The package has been complete since I have got the honor to have you physically here.
Yeah.
But I think it shows and reflects. So, sir, as a master, we were continuing, sir. Your day, what's your job responsibilities as a master in a day?
Okay, so morning I check my emails and stuff like that, do a little bit of admin. I always have my 10 o'clock coffee in the engine room.
Okay.
And most of the time, the chief officer also comes down there. So 10 to 10:30, I'm sitting in the engine room and I'm chit-chatting with the engineers and stuff like that. Instead of having formal meetings and all, I find that this is a better way to get information circulated. You figure out what's going on in the engine room, what's going on deck, what these guys are doing there. Deck I already know because I've discussed with the chief officer before breakfast, okay, before he meets with the bosun. Engine room, whatever's going on, what is planned further, what may be required, what kind of planning from my side, what I want done, all that kind of stuff. It is generally informal. You're shooting the shit in the over a cup of coffee, and it works out much, much better that way. So my morning coffee is always in the engine room. My evening coffee is usually in the cruise mess room.
So with the crew, you.
And on my ships, I try to keep a very, very open kind of a relationship. I do not believe in strict hierarchy or anything of that sort. It is like if the second engineer needs some help and all that kind of stuff, he need not look for the chief officer. He can tell the bosun directly. Or the fitter can tell the bosun.
Right, right.
And they'll arrange between themselves, yeah, I have this work, I'll manage this and I'll come to that and all that kind of stuff. The bosun has a problem in something, he'll tell the fitter directly and the fitter will inform the second engineer कि ये काम करने के लिए जा रहा हूँ and all that kind of thing. And I am like always open. The other thing, I try not to call anybody by rank. Normally when somebody joins my ship, I ask him, what does your mother call you? So not even first names, I go by nicknames.
Okay. I think it establishes a very good openness to the person to express when you have that.
Different things work for different people.
Right.
This I find has really worked very well for me. I try to keep it extremely informal, and it's like
Right.
absolutely no formalities whatsoever. You can walk in whatever time you like. Like I never sleep, so I mean my door is open all the time. You come in there. I mean anybody is free to walk in and speak their mind with no fear of reprimand. Okay,
Right.
so I mean, okay, for people who don't know me, I look like a serious kind of a guy who like people don't mess around. For people who know me, I'm a teddy bear.
No, sir, but but I want to just I had a few questions from this segment like this as a captain now, since you've been in that time of the era which we spoke about earlier in the podcast. So what are the mental challenges coming forth now more than what they were before, and what do you think as a young cadet, what are the training things which he can do for himself to cope up with the present time in your observation as a master, sir?
Okay, see, let me correlate this with a lot of things that a lot of messages which I get over the social media and stuff. There are a lot of guys who are ultra sensitive in today's date. That people don't speak to me properly, or my chief officer is abusing me, or my captain's abusing me, and this and that, and he's giving me this kind of work and that kind of work and all that kind of stuff. You're here to learn. And most of the time, my suggestion to youngsters, okay, don't go into the complaint circle. All right? A lot of times when somebody is giving you a hard time, You speak to that person in private. Go to their cabin. Say, sir, I'm here to learn. I'm willing to do whatever work you give me. Tell me what you want out of me. And 99 out of 100 times, the problem will be solved.
Right.
Okay, it is people actually going to, should I complain about the master? Should I complain about my chief officer? Why? First speak to him. Dialogue solves most problems. There are some people who wear their ego on their shoulder. Satisfy their ego. What's the problem? You're not there married to the guy. You're not going to spend your life with him. Either he's going to sign off or you're going to sign off. Stick with it. That is what I'm saying. Do not become ultra sensitive. That is actually one of the most worrying things that I'm finding in today's generation is, oh, he told me this or he spoke to me like that and stuff like that. Man up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. I think the sensitivity part, which you rightly put,
Yes.
it's becoming more oversensitive
Yes.
over the time, which you
Yeah,
also
that
observe.
is actually a person. That's actually a problem now.
So then, what are certain steps like young boys can skill up to, like practical steps which you perhaps follow in your life to just have that sense of discipline, perhaps, and the determination to learn some practical steps?
Practical steps, be ready for your next promotion. Okay? You don't know when you might get a chance. When I got a chance, captain came up to the bridge and he said, Samarth, can you make a load plan? I said, so yes, sir. And you know, okay, chief officer signing off, go make load plan and come. And I went down, made the load plan and I came up. I was ready at that time. Okay? So one, never delay your examinations. As soon as you complete time for your examinations, don't think in terms of making more money and stuff like that. Get your examinations done as soon as possible. Two, always look ahead. Be ready for your next rank. The moment you join as a second mate, you already know a second mate's job. Start learning a chief mate's job. Start doing independent cargo calculations. Start hanging around with him for trimming. Start going along with him with the surveyor, cargo surveyor and stuff like that. See what happens. See how he fills out the checklist for the foreman. Okay? See what work he has assigned the bosun, because this is a very big disconnect. Most of the time, the second mates to a chief officer, okay, the second mates have no clue about paint schemes. After a cadet, it's only
Then-
as a chief officer.
Right.
And paint schemes in today's date have become extremely important. And if you have a dud bosun, God help you.
Right, sir. So, yeah.
One thing
Yes.
again.
Ah.
My first captain.
Yes, please.
You're talking about today's date.
Yes.
My first captain never spoke a word to me during the entire time that he was there on the ship.
Wow.
Not one word.
No comms.
Absolutely not a single word. I would be standing in front of him. He would address the chief officer, tell him to do such and such.
Oof.
Or he would wait for somebody else to walk in and tell him, this is not right. Or tell him, I don't like that.
That's what it was at that time.
Exactly. And I would always say,
Yeah.
good morning, sir. And he
Yeah.
would say,
Wow.
he actually never spoke a word to me.
Yeah. Oh, so how was your first time command, sir, on the ship? Yeah.
Okay, first command,
Yeah.
I was actually ready for command in the sense that
Yeah.
I was chief mate for 7 years.
Okay.
Because I got bumped up to chief officer early. Okay, so I was chief mate for a very, very long time. And okay, interesting story before I got my command. I was first in line for command for over 2 years in my company, and then the company lost the ships. I moved along with the ships to another company. Okay, there's a batchmate of mine who I was slightly senior to, 11 months senior. Okay, when the opportunity for command came, when the slot came, I had 1.5 months in the new company. He had 7 months or 6 months. So even though I was senior, the shot was given to him first.
Okay.
Okay, and we had been together since we were third mates, back
Okay.
and forth on ships and this and that. He was also a thoroughbred self-unloader. I was also and all that kind of stuff. And so I was senior to him, and he got his shot first. At that time, it was a moment of reflection, in the sense that at one side I felt cheated, and the other side I felt like, what do I do about it? Okay. And thankfully, I decided that it's just fate, whatever it is, and I will give him my best help, whatever I can, and sail as his mate.
Right.
All right. So he got the shot at command. I was his chief officer right from the. I mean, he from chief officer got promoted to master, and I joined as chief officer. All right. And he actually never treated me like. I mean, hats off to him also. He never treated me like a chief officer, or so to say.
Just a batchmate relation was.
Yes. And I always treated him like a master. All right.
Right.
He would take my advice in everything that he did. So it was our combined knowledge that was going in. The decision was his, the responsibility was his. But he would take my advice in everything. And not interfere with anything I did. All right. So hats off to him. But as luck would have it, 4 months later, I got my shot. So I took over from him when he signed off.
Wow.
That also was not smooth. They could not find a chief officer to relieve me. Then Captain Nand Bhatia came in for 20 days till they could find a chief officer and stuff like that. And I'm always very, very thankful to Captain Bhatia.
Yeah.
I had never sailed with Captain Bhatia before that. But he had heard of me, I had heard of him. And he came up and he said, Samarth, ye mera jahaz nahi hai, ye tera jahaz hai. Mera jahaz Visa Star hai. He was Visa Star master that time. Okay? इधर तेरे को जो करना है कर. मैं सिर्फ चाय बना के तेरे को पिलाऊंगा, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं करूंगा. And that is exactly what he did. For 20 days, it is not easy for anybody to do. The responsibility is his.
Right.
And he's sitting inside the bridge on the pilot's chair while berthing and berthing while I'm standing out with the pilot.
You're doing the maneuvering and everything.
Yeah. He just let me have a total free hand for 20 days before I got my command. And that actually built up my experience.
Right.
So I'll forever be grateful to him.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So do you think like destiny and all this is a very mixed, like when it has to happen, only then it happens. Like you said, you became a chief mate because certain things. Do you believe in such kind of thing also?
Okay. I believe part ways things are going to happen because they are meant to happen. Two, do you have, are you ready to identify it and grab it when it comes to you?
Beautiful, sir.
So it doesn't work one way. Yes, destiny is there, but it is shaped by our hands.
Beautiful, sir. Why I asked you this question? Because I knew that there is a rule which will come into place because they...
Opportunities always look bigger when they're going rather than when they're coming in. Rule number 1.
Yes.
जब तक बच्चा नहीं रोता तब तक माँ भी दूध नहीं पिलाती है. Always ask for what you want. That's rule number 1.
Yes. Yeah, beautiful, sir. Like it's you needed that time. You said it, and we just get inspired from it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, sir. Talking about sir, bacha. You said bacha and ma, sir. How was it when you got married, sir? Like when you got married, did you still want to continue the same way you wanted to sail, or it changed?
Okay, I got married fairly young.
Okay.
I got married when I was 24.
Okay.
So for 5 years, almost 6 years, my wife joined with me and signed off with me.
Oh, okay. Still okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I mean, she's got 5 years of sick time now.
She's almost like us only then.
Absolutely. Okay. So at that time, I was sailing as chief officer, and it was pretty cool. I had my son on time, which I will say. So that was after 5 years, 6 years of marriage.
Okay.
So my wife would join with me and sign off with me. So I pretty much sailed like I used to before because I wanted to complete time for my masters and stuff.
Right.
And that all happened. And she has been extremely supportive and a pillar of strength.
Right.
Superwoman.
Right. Please send it to her as soon as you
Absolutely. No, I really mean that. She's been very, very supportive. She's kept the entire family going together, and our families are actually our strength. Without a solid support structure at home, we cannot do what we do.
Right, sir. Very well put, sir. And when you had your son, sir,
Yeah.
did you still have that same sea time which you were doing before?
No, by that time I had started doing 4 on 4 off when I had my son. Yeah.
Okay. So why? Because many people tell me when like I sail with certain management level also people, they say once you get married or you have a baby, you don't want to come back at sea that often anymore.
You need to strike a balance. And yes, that's exactly what it is. I mean, what are you earning for? You're earning for your family.
Right.
If you cannot spend time with them, you've lost those years.
So do you still recommend this profession, looking at from what you've come to what it has become now? Do you still recommend people to join the shipping?
Yes, I will say particularly people from tier 2, tier 3 cities, people from middle class, low middle class background. This is an excellent profession for them, provided you have a very good family structure. If you're the only son, I would not recommend it. If you are, if you have a family business, then I would not ask you to. If you are scientifically minded, if you are physical in your nature, and if you have that sense of adventure, then yes, I would recommend this. It is an excellent profession for a lot of guys. It's not for everyone.
Right.
But for if you have the right mindset, it is still an excellent profession.
There was a question which came today on the Instagram section. I asked Captain Sam's is coming, talking about they have girlfriend problems when they are on board,
Okay.
and they get into that slumber that their girlfriend is left. Now they're just helpless. All of that. Have you had such instances, perhaps in your time, or now you see as a master with?
In our time, there were no phone calls, so my wife used to write letters. Okay, she actually used to write a letter every day or every other day. So every port I used to get a bunch of letters from her. I used to write to her every port and stuff like that. So I would probably write a page a day or something of that sort. And every port I used to post her a letter.
Right.
So I mean, those were those days. So you did not have immediate kind of thingies. Okay, but then it's like, if you really love something, let it go. If it comes back, it is yours.
Yeah. I think one of the masters also said this पहले मुझे.
No, if somebody actually truly values you for who you are. See, okay, let me put it this way. I've worked ashore also, and I've this thing. So I find I have more time to spend with my family when I'm sailing rather than if I'm working ashore.
I'll come down to that, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So actually, when you are home, make it worth it. Go that extra mile. Take that effort.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about shore, sir. What work were you doing ashore? Like.
Okay, 2006, I was sitting as maritime superintendent in Jacksonville for my firm.
Okay.
And in due time, I figured out I'm not designed to sit in a chair. That was not for me. I'm not saying that's a bad job or whatever. It is just that I am not designed to sit in a chair, so I was not enjoying myself. All right. So I went back to sailing from there. Before that, 97 to 2003, I was teaching at ARI.
Okay.
I really did enjoy teaching. I was still sailing at that time. I was teaching in my off time. Okay. I really did enjoy teaching. And 2003, Captain Revari passed away. After that, there was a short period at the institute where students were not really serious about courses and stuff like that. And it kind of lost its charm for a little bit. And then I spent some time painting in my free time and all that kind of stuff, made a few pieces and so.
You mean like artwork and
Artwork and all that.
Wow.
Fairly good.
Yeah? Please share it with us if you still have them.
Sometime, yeah. Okay. And then 2009, I quit for 3 years and I set up a workshop. I was building and driving race cars.
Oh my God.
That is something which I'd always been interested in.
Okay.
So that is something which I did. And I did very well at that also, in the sense that 2010 Indian National Rally Championship winner was my car.
Wow.
2011, 1, 2, 3 were mine.
Wow.
But then the motorsport scene in India did not pick up as I had anticipated it would, because at that time you had the ETOS Cup, the Polo Cup and stuff like that.
Right.
and we were thinking that BMW is going to come into motorsport and Audi is going to come into motorsport and stuff like that. But everything just, when the F1 packed out of India, everything just
Went
packed
away.
up and went. Okay.
Oh, interesting, sir. This is something I think nobody knows about it, perhaps.
People do.
People do?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the motorsport community,
Yeah.
people who have been there like for more than 10 years and stuff like that, they would know. I mean, they generally know me as Captain from Pro Automods.
Okay, so you did try that venture out and...
Oh, yes. I had a lot of fun, did not make that much of money, but since I saw that the motorsport scene is not going up the way I was anticipating it would, we wound that up and I went back to sailing after that. And now I'm just having too much fun sailing.
Yeah, sir. I mean, I think next month you're leaving back on a sail.
Yeah.
So beautiful. So, like at 53, you still have that same charisma. And like it shows in the body language and...
I am actually having fun sailing now. You see those dogs in the winter, they make a little furrow for themselves and they curl up and sit inside it.
Yeah.
I've got a little groove like that now. It's very difficult to move out of this.
But you don't want to move out also, I think.
Not currently.
Not currently.
Eventually, yes. I still do enjoy teaching a lot. So that's why I just did my VICT and stuff. But right now, I'm actually having fun sailing.
Right, sir. So any particular message you want to put across for the students who are also your audience, sir? Like I think many of our aspirants. You want to convey some message today?
When you're on board ship, actually look to the rank which is ahead of you. As I said, when you join as a second officer, start doing a chief officer's job. When you're there as a chief officer, offer your services to the master. Sir, let me do this. Sir, let me do that. Okay? Because if you expect somebody to teach you something, he's not going to teach you. But if you ask somebody a question, there is nobody who will deny you an answer.
Right.
All right? And the amount of confidence which you get by actually doing something, you cannot get by just merely studying about it. So once you have practically done stuff, then your retention is all the more when you study about it.
Right.
All right? Ask questions right now. You got so many avenues, YouTube videos on every subject that you can get and all that kind of stuff. You can actually find out, get a lot of good information about everything. So prepare yourself while you're there on board for your next examination. All right. So once you've done the stuff, then the retention is so much better. Another very, very important part, particularly for the orals. The same question can be asked to different ranks and every rank will answer differently. So in your mind, you have to think you are already that rank when you start studying for it.
Wow.
Now when you go in for your masters,
Yeah.
in your mind, you have to start thinking like the master of a ship. All right?
Absolutely.
Right from the time you start studying. So when you walk in for your orals, in your mind, you're already the captain of a ship. And that is what the surveyor sees when he sees you come in. Ki ye master aaya.
Beautifully put, sir. So I think you have taken me, and I'm sure the audience also now, from a very different time. And I'm sure you have so many experiences which you have not shared, and we'll get you back on the show to share the same. But you've taken us on a roller coaster, sir, and I just loved the entire narration, the ride. Of course, I feel like a FOMO. You call it the FOMO. Oh, I wish I was also sailing in your time. Just
See, listen, when I was in school,
Yeah.
we used to think that everything's already been discovered. What's left? But in our lifetimes, we've seen more innovation than since the beginning of mankind. So don't think you've lost out on experiences. You're going to make such beautiful and innovative experience. You're going to make them. All right? And the way you're going to make history, boy.
No, sir. No, sir, but we would love to have you back again, sir. I'm sure there are many things, particularly technical things, which I think we can learn from you a lot, sir. So we'd love to have you back, sir. And thank you so much
The
for coming
pleasure
today,
is
sir.
entirely mine.
And sir, we didn't touch your fitness topic, sir. Just one particular sentence you would want to give for young students, or perhaps me, for the fitness-related mindset which you have, sir. Why do you keep emphasizing on that?
It's a matter of discipline. It is you just do what you're supposed to do, particularly on the days you do not feel like doing it. It is just consistency. In every field of life, that is all that is required. Consistency. You stay at it. And it takes you where you want to go.
Thank you for sharing that, sir. And that will be the closing note because, like I said, highly motivated, inspired, looking at you only and now the words itself, sir. Thank you again. And
Thank you so much. And again, you guys are doing such beautiful work and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Golden button soon as possible.
We'll put it here and then you'll all come on this show.
Absolutely.
Again,
I would love to.
Thank
Love
you.
your work and
Thank
thank
you,
you
sir.
so very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So that was Captain Sam's for you all. I hope you got the same positive vibe and that old school sailor feeling from him. Do let me know in the comment section who you would like to see on the show and we'll try our best to do that. Signing off KSN. See you back next week. Thank you.